step, or what
Werewolves are
conspiracy-
fake. That's the difference.
What conspiracy theory are we going to cover today? Like,
It gets weird on the Big Access podcast.
He didn't push a button.
yeah,
I
he
didn't
was
see-
recording.
He was recording
the whole time.
He fooled
Were
us,
you
dude.
recording before? Be honest, were you?
We've got a
What was
lot
that?
of
Is it voice activated?
Sony, record now.
He just pulls out like a wand. Now.
I'm really nervous when I go back to go see this replay now. What it's going to see. I mean, we were talking about Twilight. We were talking about Parks and Rec, right? That changed us over to Parks and Rec, which top 5 show of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
Top
amazing.
Top 3.
Yeah,
top 3.
I could see that.
Okay, what are your
probably.
top 3?
I mean, Office obviously
Office.
is like up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parks and Rec is good. Well, if we're just talking sitcoms, I don't think you can top 3 of all time. That's
Tough.
It's
yeah.
tough.
But yeah.
Who else makes the top 3?
I love Seinfeld. Honestly.
yeah,
Seinfeld's
a
great.
classic.
Seinfeld is so
Yeah.
good.
But my wife doesn't, which is sad because then I don't get to watch it. You know?
Anyone that I like introduced to Seinfeld, I start off with the episode where George's mom is a doll.
Oh my
for his
gosh.
fiance.
That is the funniest thing. Dude,
Don't eat with your mouth open. The doll's just sitting across from him at the diner.
How did they come up with that? It's literally a show about nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's,
dude, one of my absolute favorite episodes too is remember when they get lost in the parking garage?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's hilarious because I legit got lost in a parking garage in Nashville earlier this year.
believe
Dude, like we got back from Broadway late and we were exhausted. And suddenly I'm like, where did we park? And my buddies are like, you're the one with the keys. You're supposed to remember that. I'm like, I don't know. So I legit went running all over the entire parking garage just trying to hit it. And I'd get to points where it would go off, but then I couldn't pinpoint where it was because it was just
all
echoing
echoing
everywhere.
around,
So it was
yeah.
just like, oh man, I don't even know what to do here.
Have you been to the Mall of America?
Yes.
In Minneapolis?
Yeah, been many times.
So this was my first time. I flew into Minneapolis to see Bay, and we got done with calls late, but we were close. So I drove over. I was going to go in. It's like intimidating. I'm like, I don't have time to. I can't even park and get in the door before this thing probably closes. It's so big.
Giant.
they have like 30 Caribou coffees in the Mall of America.
Right.
Like think of how many Starbucks you have on every corner here.
You
right?
park
Like,
and then you shuttle to it.
yeah.
I mean, when you legit build a mall around roller coasters, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were, so we actually went out there in November this last year to go film a case study. I
Rough
think that's
time
when it
to
was.
go to the Midwest.
It was chilly. It wasn't quite Midwest chilly. Like I've been there in January where the high was -15. That was a mistake. But also when you have a Dodge Charger or a Challenger with a Hemi, you take that as a rental car, even though it's going to snow 15 inches the next day.
Is it rear wheel drive?
I got pushed out like 4 times, but I had a Hemi for a little bit and it was awesome. But anyway, so we went up there to go film a case study. It's the Shannon's Auto Body case study. Shout out to Digital Horizons for that one.
Digital Horizons.
But we went to Mall of America, and there were people legit like riding the log flume ride that is in there. I'm like, you are going to go outside and instantly turn into a freaking popsicle.
Yeah.
I don't get it, dude.
There was literally a trend of people throwing boiling water into the air in that area.
I remember seeing that.
It just turns to ice immediately.
Yeah.
Seriously, before it hits the ground.
Right, I've seen people do that.
I think that's a sign from God. Like, don't live there. The whole winter vortex thing. Like,
Right.
Like that's a sign. Like,
And then also the summer. When I got there, it was 92 degrees with 90% humidity. And then on the app, it says, feels like 122 degrees. And they were not wrong.
No.
You open your car door, you can't breathe.
and the mosquitoes. They're like
Mm.
birds over there.
Oh yeah.
It's
The Minnesota state bird I've heard is the mosquito.
type of
That makes
mosquito.
sense.
Yeah.
So I actually just barely got back from the Carolinas doing some case studies, and I got to experience what 100 degrees with 90% humidity is, and dude, it is unbearable.
They have 3 months of perfection there, though.
Oh, I could see it.
They do have 3
And
months
and
of
let me tell you what. This is a shout out to MK Consulting. Marshall, your house is gorgeous. The party was awesome. Your brisket was fantastic. Your yard is everything I've ever dreamed of. But your humidity, my friend, is awful. I don't know how you live in that, dude. I had to shower 4 times in a day.
Yeah, and even when you hop out of the shower, you're just wet. the whole day.
Yeah.
Right? Like you never dry off.
You don't
Even if
dry off.
Dry off. You like.
There's no such thing as towels.
They don't have towels down there.
There's no need. What are you going to do with a towel?
Exactly,
Just
right?
carry it around. Carry around a wet towel.
Oh, that towel.
Well, okay. This is quite the tangent. This is quite the intro here. and we could probably go on for like this for like 30 minutes.
That's what you get for getting me on the
Maybe
podcast.
that's
I'm
what we
sorry.
need to do is just have a ramblings episode where we just go for like hours, just a conversation. I don't
probably
think many
could.
people would watch it, but
The
we would.
difference between this time you being on and last time is this time you have to because I command you.
That's right.
Because you work for me now.
You may recognize
Get in there,
guest
Benji.
across from me, Benji Bolick, who last time you were on the podcast, you were not employed by
No,
PDK.
no, I was wearing a different hat then. I
You
think.
were.
Yeah.
We like who you were employed by. We
Yes,
like them.
we
I
very
really
much
like this hat. It's a nice hat, and I haven't taken it off since I got here. So.
I know. I've noticed.
You need to take a shower. I command you.
No, I shower with it. You know, it gets clean with me. Now.
Yeah.
Yuck. No, not really. Actually, less yuck.
Yeah. Anyway, so we do have Benji Bolick here on the podcast with us as an official employee of PDK now. So that's pretty freaking
Yeah,
awesome. Yes. Round of
we are
applause.
very
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, it is kind of interesting that, most people when they start, a lot of people do end up on the podcast, but that's usually their first time. This is not your first time on the podcast. You've been here
It's not
before.
my first rodeo.
So this is pretty cool. And in fact, you've hosted your own podcast for quite a while too. So you're used to talking, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because I consider myself more of an introvert naturally, but when the lights come on, you kind of have to perform. Step up to the
I
stage.
never would have thought of you as an introvert at all.
Yeah,
neither.
I would like my perfect spot is like out in the woods in a campfire. Like
Yeah.
maybe playing some board games or something like that.
All an introvert really is people that have a really small subset of things they like to talk about. Do you know what I mean? So they just assume no one's going to want to talk about it, so they just stay inside. If you get an introvert talking about something they like, all of a sudden they're different.
Yeah, I think mine was doors.
Yeah.
So,
You can enjoy them inside or outside.
oh, you like doors? You got a door. Let's
Yeah.
talk about doors. Let's
Okay. That's how most people
indoor
react.
or outdoor. I like that. That was good.
Did you see
I
the,
just caught
the
that.
pun? Yeah.
That was good. I did like your post the other day about your favorite doors are the outdoors. So
Yes.
that was good.
See, outdoors. Yeah.
If you're not following Benji Bolick, the Door Dork, on any social media platform, you need to.
There's wisdom in it.
There really is.
Yeah, no, there's value in it. Like I know we make fun of all these poorly installed access control setups, but there's value in it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, I mean, you'll hear us talk about it all the time on the marketing team that education is the most important thing out there.
Yeah,
And
and
so-
so just
Amen.
like the comments alone, like people saying like, "What is wrong with this?" and like they'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it, and that you find education in the comments there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Well, today we are actually going to talk a lot about PDK and about how PDK's system is able to grow as customers grow. So that's one of the coolest things about PDK is the scalability aspect, right? When you install a system, it's going to be the worst that it will ever be. It's only ever going to get better. But that includes like the number of doors, right? Businesses grow. We're all here in business to help grow our businesses, to help us elevate to new levels, and that can mean expansions, that can mean additional doors being monitored, that can mean a number of different things. And one of the cool things about PDK is that we make all of our hardware both backwards and forwards compatible so that we can be able to work together to really create the perfect environment for anybody. And so what we've ultimately done is we've created a platform that helps PDK to be able to grow as a dealer's customer grows. Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today. So there's a number of different things that I kind of want to get thoughts and opinions on. But we do have Marshall Burton, our regional sales director over the Mountain West territory. We've got his new hire, Benji Bolick, here, the regional sales manager. He's going to be over the Pacific Northwest is what we're calling it, right? Yep.
Bigfoot territory.
Bigfoot territory, yep. If he sells a system to Bigfoot, this is going to be awesome.
Or sells them because of Bigfoot.
Ooh, that could be it.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you feel safe? Let's have a conversation.
I like this route. Time to make some videos. And then of course we've got Dallan, our EVP of sales here. So
Thanks for having me.
yeah,
Who
it's gonna be
could
good.
take on Bigfoot? I think you're,
Yes.
especially
Not
with
in the
your
stories
taekwondo. I heard you did taekwondo or
So
jiu-jitsu.
I need to quote, jujitsu,
Yeah.
not taekwondo. We have an icebreaker in our sales meetings, and what was the question you asked?
If you were
In the
to
Olympics.
compete in the Summer Olympics, what event do you think you would do best at?
Yeah, and so I just looked through the list, and I'm like looking at all these things, and I'm 40, so I'm like, I don't know, maybe taekwondo. I don't know. Jiu-jitsu doesn't quite have the punching and kicking portion, but we'll see. That was what. Yeah, but not taekwondo, but jiu-jitsu. I've been doing for a long time.
Still
That's pretty
impressive.
That
Thank you.
is.
Yeah.
I don't think I could compete at any form of Olympics.
Well, that's the idea, right? Like we understand that we're not going to go to the Olympics and compete, but if you could think of what is the one that you would do best at?
And it had to be summer.
Yeah, it has to be Summer
Yeah, 'cause
Olympics.
Summer
You're
Olympics
an
are-
archer, aren't you?
Yeah, I shoot my bow.
That's
a
what
lot.
Scotty.
And so that's probably what it would
Same
have
thing.
to be.
It's just like shooting clays. I know how to shoot a shotgun.
Yeah.
I might be able to compete in that.
Like if it was winter, I'd have my answer for you immediately. It's snowboard cross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, summer would be a little bit more difficult. I have to
Yeah.
go look through the,
That's
the
what I had to do. I had to Google it.
235 different events that the Summer Games has.
Ping pong.
No, I could not.
No.
No.
Marshall.
Like, yeah, Marshall could.
Yeah, maybe like 2 years ago. I'm struggling these days.
Well, that's
not
what
being in the
happens when
office
you're
very
not in the
often.
office now.
I know. It's my pride's taking a hit.
Yeah.
Gonna have to get it figured out. So
Nice. Anyways, well, let's talk about some scalability here. So I actually, like I had mentioned earlier, I was out in the Carolinas this week, or last week, filming some case studies. And so one of them we did was a place called the Forest at Duke. And it's a senior living center that has a bunch of PDK on it, but they are actually expanding and growing because they've hit that point where they need to. So they are building a whole additional wing. When all is said and done, it's going to be over 5 million square feet on this facility. It is giant. It is massive. And they're going to be putting PDK on every one of these. And the cool thing is that they've had PDK installed even pre-pandemic, and they're going to be able to now add additional things like the Asa Abloy Imperial lock sets, additional readers, strikes, mag locks, all that fun stuff to be able to protect the residents who live there, be able to protect all of their assets like all the drugs and medicine that they need on site, and protecting the employees and their belongings as well. So there's a lot of different things that are going to be protected there. But one of the cool things that you can do with PDK is we can use new hardware on there that was not even available. I mean, a lot of the products that are on that system right now are I/O controllers.
Okay.
So not even red controllers. But then they have expanded, and there is red controllers there as well. And so now there will be additional ones thrown on there. And so that's a really cool thing, being able to grow that PDK lets customers grow.
Yeah.
So Marshall, I'm sure you've seen this expansion has been pretty big. Customers are constantly growing, and oftentimes they'll run into a situation where they maybe have a door that has been in there that they have just wanted monitoring on, but now want full access, right? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about, kind of as far as scalability goes, kind of what your favorite thing about PDK is whenever you're talking with some of your dealers and your customers out there.
I mean, just how easy it is, right? Like from the beginning, we talk about how easy the installs are, but adding on to the system is the exact same. Find a port on the switch, right? Add a controller, and then do whatever you need to do. And then our controller lineup, I think, is one that makes it more beneficial than a lot, because based off of how big you're wanting to grow that system, or how many doors you need to add, what the area looks like, what your wire runs look like, right? You can determine, okay, these are the specific controllers that I need or want to use on this. And so you're not pigeonholed by, okay, I've either got a single door controller or I have an 8-door controller, right? Well, if I've got 4 doors in that specific area, I don't want to put 4 single door controllers, and I also don't want to have 4 extra ports right now for no reason. So being able to have a 4-door controller that I can just put up right there and then wire those 4 doors to it and be good to go, it's a huge benefit. So that's probably my favorite, just ease of install, but also having the the controller lineup that you need to be able to design that add-on as advantageous to the dealer as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many dealers would you say, Dallan, that we run into that maybe install a job knowing that there might be something in the future, and so they over prepare? How many would you say that do that?
Probably half.
Yeah.
Most end users don't quite understand what goes into a single door of access control. That's why I love our engineering diagrams that your marketing team created. I've never seen anything in this industry that quite so eloquently and simply shows the complexity of an access control door. And so a lot of times people are anticipating a much lower cost than actually goes into an access control door.
Yeah.
So when you get there, they think they've budgeted for 10 doors, but really they can only afford 5 at the time sometimes. And so what will happen is, they could put a cloud node and a couple 4-door controllers in there and maybe an additional controller depending on if there's a door way out of the way, and they can just prepare cost effectively for that expansion that'll come with the following year's budget. Mm-hmm. So I hear that a lot from dealers. A lot of times once they do see the value, miraculously, their budget expands because they just didn't plan for it correctly. And once they understand what goes into it, they're happy to go with it and use pretty much the only proactive source of security, which is access control.
Yeah, that's way cool. Another example of something that we just did. We sent Sophia, our content manager, out to Bowling Green, Kentucky this last week as well. We did a bunch of different case studies this last week, but she went and filmed one at the National Corvette Museum. Now that's been a job that we have had for a while.
I love Corvettes.
And dude, she came back with so many freaking cool pictures. I was so jealous that ultimately I didn't have the choice to where to send me and her, but I sent her to the cool one.
Mm-hmm. It's a good boss.
Yeah. Well, I got to go experience humidity, so that was fun. Anyways, but the same deal where they have a bunch of different controllers that they have installed pre-planning for the next phases. I mean, ultimately now I think they're on phase 4, something like that. They're at like 140 doors and they're getting ready for phase 5 and everything. And so it's pretty cool being able to just have that ability to expand and scale at any time whenever that time comes.
Yeah.
So Benji, you've been drinking from a fire hose. Though,
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you're kind of learning all this new stuff. But talk to me kind of from your Asa Abloy side of things, and then the experience that you've gotten here at PDK. What does in your opinion, what does scalability look like here at PDK, and what makes it so simple that you've been able to learn so far?
When I was with Asa Abloy, I actually helped sell some PDK systems up in the Pacific Northwest. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice that I have like that, a little bit of a connection there. And just walking through, like doing a job site walkthrough with like one of our dealers, and like going through the different applications and the different controllers and the flexibility between like the wireless controllers and Ethernet, and like everything's plug and play. And it was like, holy crap, you can do a lot with this system, and it can grow with whatever you need to do. And with a college campus that we were talking about, it was tricky because there's some really old historic buildings, there's some new buildings, there's some buildings that are coming online, and they needed a system that was flexible enough to retrofit both kind of historic buildings, but also grow with the campus as the campus grows as well.
Yeah.
So I've been amazed with what I've seen so far, and I mean, I was already in love with the product before then, so it's kind of mind-blowing. Once you're in it, you're like, wow, it really is kind of like plug and play, like Legos. Like,
Right.
you can really just put the blocks together and make it happen.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point here, is that, the scalability it's not just based on the different types of hardware and the fact that you can install like a Red Max controller beforehand prepping for the future. I think it does also go into like the hardware kits and the module kits that you can go ahead and just plug and play into the controllers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, every Red controller comes with a built-in self-discoverable network connection. You plug that in, it's going to be able to be found over that existing IT infrastructure that's in the building. It's going to pop up in the software, and you're going to be set and good to go. But you do run into some situations where maybe there's no network port nearby. Yeah. And so you need to grab that wireless module kit and plug that directly in, so then they can communicate over our own proprietary wireless network. That's pretty cool, right? And that can help with a lot of different projects and different environments. I mean, for example, with this National Corvette Museum, they do have not only every type of Red controller in there, but they also are utilizing every communication method that we have as well. They have the network, just the standard network ports, and then they have power nearby that they plug into. They have some situations where there's no power out there, but they were able to run a PoE connected, Ethernet cable right out there, plug that in, get the PoE module kit plugged right in, and now that area is secured by PoE and by PDK. They've got other areas in other sections because this is a big warehouse type facility, big open spaces, right? In that situation, running network is difficult, so they've got wireless controllers out there as well to help talk back and forth with each other, showing what that wireless is.
And in a warehouse, can you imagine how far that signal could travel?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah.
Are you telling me you can create hybrid systems with PDK?
Hybrid
You could use PoE network and wireless interchangeably in the same system? Is that what you're trying?
The fact that our EVP is just learning this right now is scaring me.
This is ludicrous.
It's like, I can still so much more.
Holy cow. 5 years in.
No. But yeah, I mean, how cool is that, right? All of the different type of hardware that we've got is able to be scaled that way.
It comes in so handy. We get feedback every day from our dealers. They're like, maybe they go into a building that had an existing access control, and 3 of the doors they have to use existing conduit.
Yeah.
Well, you can't run additional power wires to that conduit. Maybe only a network cable fits through, so then they use PoE plus in that situation. Or like you said, the door that's way out there, historical buildings, we're killing it in those because you don't have to cut as much with PDK or at all. Really.
Yeah. Well, I think there is one other aspect of scalability that a lot of dealers don't necessarily think about, and I think that is the mobile credential style readers. A lot of customers out there, they don't necessarily want to go to the mobile right away. They recognize the benefits of it, but so a lot of guys are just dipping their toes in the access control world, and so they're like, well, maybe we don't go all in yet, but we all know they'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
And so one big thing that a lot of dealers are able to do is install our red readers. And if you go with a red reader that has Bluetooth built into it, you don't have to use the Bluetooth right away, right?
No.
And so you can actually install one of those red readers, just still use standard Brach credentials or even the high security credentials. And when your customer's ready, then you can upscale them to the mobile credential side of things, right? This Corvette museum has a bunch of tenants who just use standard credentials. And then they have their executive staff who are there much more frequently use their mobile credentials. And so it helps them to grow even with the different types of credentials that they're using. And so that helps dealers to better prepare that end user for the future without ever having to go out and do a full retrofit and go and swap out every reader, right? That can get really expensive over time.
Really
Being able
expensive.
to just go and have that functionality already built in to say, oh, you want that? Well, cool, let's just turn it on.
Here, I'll turn it on.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Literally
Right?
just a little switch.
So that's really cool, right? And so that's one of the cool things about PDK is not only do we build the best access control system out there right now, we're building that best access control system for the future.
Yeah.
We're wanting these dealers to be able to have the best possible experience forever. I mean, ultimately, we are concerned about our customers. We care for our customers. We want to make sure that they have everything that they need.
The winning formula in security is super easy. At least I think it is. I hope I don't come across condescending, but it's whoever makes protecting life and property the easiest and whoever educates the best.
Yeah.
Those 2 things, that's the company that's going to win and grow the most.
Yep.
I mean, you look at the trades in general and the lack of people that are coming in. We need systems that are so simple and intuitive that people can just pick it up and run with it.
Yeah. You are absolutely right. And that's where I think PDK can really thrives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are just about out of time. That went by really
That
fast.
flew by.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, that it does. I really like hanging out with you guys. That was a lot of fun.
Bigfoot.
We didn't even get to talk about Bigfoot.
We did a little at the beginning.
Yeah.
PDK will stop Bigfoot from getting in your house to some extent. That's our guarantee.
Well, I mean, it also depends on your doors.
To some extent. That's why I said to some extent. Yeah.
If you put a door position sensor on it, you'll at least know when Bigfoot
Yeah,
enters.
you'll be able to try to get away.
Anyways, guys, thanks a ton for taking the time to come jump on this week's episode of the Big Access Podcast. Hopefully, this has been very educational and help you guys to really understand that, you're not just installing an access control system for now, you're installing it for the future. So make sure you're thinking about scalability and future design plans that might come into play here in the future. if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and let us know if there's anything that you're looking to learn, because we're here to educate you. We want to make sure that you know what you need to know. But anyways, thank you guys a ton again, and we will see you on the next episode.